Ben was a small boy. He had short brown hair and big, quiet eyes. He lived in a small house with his mother and father. They loved him very much. But Ben was different. Ben did not talk. He did not speak a single word. Not hello, not goodbye, not mama, not papa, nothing at all. He was quiet at home. He was quiet at school. He was quiet everywhere. Every day his parents waited. They waited to hear his voice. They waited for him to say something. But Ben stayed silent. His mouth stayed closed. His words stayed inside. Ben's silence was not normal. He didn't laugh. He didn't cry. He didn't whisper. Nothing. Some people in the village said, maybe he's shy. Some said, maybe something is wrong. And some even whispered, maybe he just doesn't want to speak. His parents didn't know what to believe. His mother, Emma, would sit by his bed every night. She would tell him stories, soft, slow stories, hoping one day he might answer. Ben, she whispered once, her voice shaking, if you can hear me, just say something. One word, any word. Ben blinked. He looked at her, but again, no words came. His father, Mr. Clark, a tall, quiet man himself, watched from the door. He said nothing either. But inside his heart, he prayed. Every night, both parents waited for that one word that never came. And then, something changed. It was a cold morning. The sky was gray. The wind was strong. The trees outside the house moved like they were dancing. Inside the small kitchen, Ben's mother was making tea. She boiled water. She lit the old gas stove, like she always did. She was tired, but she smiled. Her son, Ben, sat on the floor near the window, holding his little toy car. As always, he said nothing. His eyes looked out the window, far and quiet, like he was in another world. Emma, his mother, turned to take the sugar from the shelf. For just one moment, her hand slipped. The hot kettle wobbled. Then it fell. Boom! The kettle hit the stove. Flames jumped into the air. The towel near the stove caught fire. The fire grew fast, too fast. Smoke rose quickly, the kitchen filled with heat. Emma screamed, "Oh no!" and stepped back, trying to grab a cloth to stop it. But the fire moved like it was alive. Ben didn't move. He just watched. He didn't cry. He didn't run. He didn't shout. The smoke was dark now. It touched the ceiling. The fire hissed like a snake. Emma coughed, waving her hands. "Ben!" she shouted, her voice sharp and scared. "Ben, get out! Run, baby!" Still, he didn't move. He just looked at her. The flames moved closer. She looked at Ben, still frozen. She tried to move to him, but her leg hit the fallen chair. She slipped, hard, onto the floor. Her head hit the ground with a thud. Everything turned dizzy. Her eyes blinked slowly. She couldn't get up. Now the smoke was everywhere, thick, hot, sharp. And then, something happened. For the first time in his life, Ben stood up. He dropped his toy car. He took a deep breath. And in a voice no one had ever heard before, he shouted one word. "Mama!" Loud, strong, clear, like thunder inside the tiny house. It was just one word, but it cut through the fire, the fear, and the silence of years. His mother's eyes opened wide. She saw him standing. She saw his mouth move. She heard his voice. He ran to her. He pulled her hand. She was awake now, more awake than ever. Her son had spoken. He had said, "Mama," and now he was trying to save her. They crawled to the door, coughing, crying, holding hands. Outside, neighbors saw the smoke. They came running. Someone shouted, "Call help!" A man used a hose. A woman gave a blanket. Someone called the fire truck. The fire was stopped. The smoke was gone. And Ben was not the same boy anymore. The fire was gone. The smoke was gone. But something big stayed behind. A sound. A word. A voice. Ben's voice. He said, "Mama." One word. That word was small, but it was powerful. His mother sat on a blanket outside their home. Her face was pale. Her hands were shaking, but her eyes were shining. She looked at Ben like she had never seen him before. Not like a boy who was quiet, not like someone silent, but like a boy who had spoken to the world. Ben sat next to her. He looked at the sky. He didn't smile. He didn't cry. He just sat, quiet again, but different. His father ran to them. "Emma, Ben," he shouted. He dropped to his knees and held them both. Emma looked up. Her lips moved slowly. "He spoke," she whispered. "He said..." Mama Ben's father turned to him. "Ben, is it true?" he asked, his voice soft. "Did you speak, son?" Ben looked at his father. His face was calm. Then he nodded. That nod, that small nod, was like music. People around them started whispering. He talked? Was that the boy who never said a word? He shouted, "Mama?" It saved her life. The story moved through the village, like wind through trees. Everyone wanted to know, what made Ben speak? Why now? Why then? The school teacher came to visit. Her name was Miss Claire. She had taught Ben for 1 year. She sat with him and smiled. "Ben," she said, holding a small book. "Do you want to try again? Just a word. Any word." Ben looked at the book. He touched it. He opened the first page. There was a picture of a dog. He whispered, "Dog." Miss Claire's eyes filled with tears. She looked at his parents. "He's ready," she said. "He's finally ready." From that day, everything changed. Ben went back to school, not just with books and a bag, but with a voice. He said one new word every day. Sometimes he said 2. One day he said, "Thank you." Another day, "Happy." Then food, home, safe, love. His mother started writing each word on a paper. She stuck them to the kitchen wall. That kitchen, the same one that once caught fire, now had words all over it. Colorful, bright, alive. The house felt different now. It was still small. They were still poor. But now, they had a voice in the house. A child's voice. Ben's voice. Many days passed. The cold days turned warm. The trees turned green again. And in that little house, with the kitchen full of words, Ben was not the same boy anymore. He smiled more. He spoke more. He laughed with his mother. He read with his father. He learned new words every day. Words like sun, tree, milk, hug. Words that felt like sunshine. At school, Ben had new friends. The teacher, Miss Claire, often asked him to read the small story aloud. His voice was soft, but it was clear. Everyone listened. But one day something new happened. A new boy came to class. His name was Ali. He was small, like Ben. He had sad eyes, like Ben once had. He did not speak, not a word. When Miss Claire said, "Hello, Ali," he just looked down. When the children said, "Play with us," he stayed in the corner. Ben watched him. He remembered. He remembered what it felt like to want to speak, but not be able to have words inside, but no door to let them out. That evening, Ben went home. He picked up a clean page. He took a pencil. He drew a sun, then a smiley face, then a ball. The next day at school, Ben walked to Ali. He didn't speak. He just gave him the paper. Ali looked at it. His eyes blinked. Ben smiled. Then he said one word. "Friend." Ali looked up. Slowly. He smiled back. The next day, Ben gave him another paper. This one had pictures of food. An apple, a cup, a spoon. Ben pointed to each one and said the words, apple, cup, spoon. Ali listened. The day after that, Ali picked up the paper himself. He pointed to the apple. He whispered, apple. Miss Claire saw this. Her hands covered her mouth. She looked at Ben. Ben smiled. She nodded. You helped him, she said softly. You helped him like no one else could. That week, Allie said 3 more words. Run. Game. Ball. He ran with the other children. He played with Ben. And every time he spoke, he looked at Ben first. From silence came speech. From fear came courage. From one voice came another. Ben had become more than just a boy who finally spoke. He became a helper, a guide, a friend. And that was bigger than any word. Ben sat in his room one morning. The sun came through the window. The light touched his face. He held his favorite book in his hands. He looked at the wall. There were many words on paper. Words like, thank you, home, hope, friend, mama. Every word had a story. Every word had a feeling. He thought about the day he said his first word. He thought about the fire, about his mother, about Allie, and he smiled. He whispered, one word. Changed everything. Ben now knew something very important, something powerful. Words can help. Words can heal. Words can make people smile. Words can change a day, or even a life. Did you like Ben's story? There are more stories to come. Stories with new words, new feelings, and new adventures. So don't forget to subscribe. And remember, every story has a word that can change everything. Maybe your word is next. Words we learned today are